Welcome back, beautiful ones, to the final episode of Hidden Wholeness, weaving the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine together. So, today's final topic is on goddess power mastery with spiritual artist and energy healer Zeenat Lakdawala. So, for those of you that don't know Zeenat, let me tell you a little bit about her. As the visionary founder of Soul Search, she aims to heal and empower individuals, guiding them towards their highest potential. With a distinguished track record as an international speaker and having impacted thousands of clients globally, Zeenat brings a wealth of expertise to us. She's a trusted authority in transformative healing with light language and sacred geometry. So, Zeenat, I am so excited to have this conversation and to find out more about you myself today, and I welcome you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm just so happy to be here and to be part of this.
Yeah, we were just kind of briefly talking about that because you're a mystery to me. And I love mysteries and I love the universe, how it works. And actually this whole summit has sort of been a bit of a mystery to me too. So it's beautiful that we're ending in a mystery. And so let's share with the viewers a little bit about this. So you and I have never met, and I was going to watch a segment that you had recorded with Loren, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to leave this so that I learn just like everybody else and I receive just like everybody else. And I love how took you approached Loren and sent her an email and saying, you know what, I really need to be part of this. And this is how it works. When we really show up in our authentic power and really allow the feminine to receive and the masculine to take it out, it's beautiful. So, can you share just a little bit about what it is about this series that really spoke to you and was calling to you to, I got to be part of this. Let's do this.
So, firstly, I just started working on the goddess archetype mastery a few weeks ago. And as part of that, I actually, as I was telling Dharma from Lorraine's team, that I started working on it as part of just doing one call. And because this month, which is October, November, is a very, you can say, double dose of goddess energy in India, as I come from. And the whole of October was one goddesses after the other. We were working with them, we were thriving in their energy. And as we are ending this entire crusade, which ends on November 6th and 7th, it is a full load of goddess power. And so I was guided to do one. I thought I would be asked to do one call because I saw the number 15. So in my own understanding, I thought I'm going to be doing a call that I would be talking about the archetype and I would be talking about 15 archetypes. And when I started writing, as the energy started flowing and I started typing, I realized that I'm not supposed to do one single call, but I'm supposed to do three calls of three categories of archetypes and goddesses in that, which included 15 in each category. And so now I have 70 goddesses that I have worked with in the last 3 weeks. And as the series was coming to a conclusion, I was in my room and I was doing some work, and you get this sense sometimes that, and I'm thinking about the goddess energy, and I'm thinking about the month, and suddenly I'm told that this has to go beyond. Like you're stopping, you're confining yourself because this is not what the idea was. And so I was like, okay, I will figure out what I can do much further from here. And I just randomly came to my seat and I started going through through the emails. And the first email that I saw was from the New Earth. And I'm like, okay. And it says, it's talking about the goddess power. It's talking about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And I'm like, how did I miss this? Like, because Lorraine does send me an email saying that this year we are going to be doing these programs. And I'm like, how did I miss it? And I believe in yes to more. And I believe very strongly you must ask. So I know the series has already started. And I said, let me ask, what else? Lorraine will say, next time, Zeenat, or okay, there is an opportunity. So I wrote to her, and the next thing, we had scheduled our call for today.
Here
So
we are.
thank you very much for
Oh,
allowing me to do this with you. Thank you. God bless you.
you are so welcome. I believe so much in this because I know Loren, speaking of Loren, she gave whatever she gave me such a huge opportunity too. And so this is what New Earth is all about, is allowing each one of us to shine our light and to support each other in whatever way we can. So I love that you are the mystery last guest, and I wanted to leave it as you being a mystery to me. And I can already feel your energy. It's beautiful. I love that you work with the goddesses. So tell me more. I mean, I'm sure everybody's going to be like, how do they come through? What happens for you?
So, in 2022, in fact, I started my journey some around 10 years ago, and I have been working with Goddess Lakshmi's energy, and I work with a lot of goddesses and gods' energies across time. I go through timelines, so I work with a lot of energies. And over the years, I have come to an understanding that my energy does not belong to this cosmos, and I come from a different cosmos. And through those, from that cosmos, I bring in the energy to this cosmos. So I'm like a channel of God, a great grand goddess energy from that cosmos into our cosmos of this timeline. And so I have always found myself very drawn to this feminine energy because I have over the years seen how distorted I have or I had with the masculine energy, because I felt that in every setup, because I have 15 years of work experience in corporate, where I was a single woman in a boardroom of around 20 men. So coming from that energy, I know that what kind of amount of work that we need to put in as a woman standing in a boardroom filled with men. And I have seen the distortion over the years. I've seen the distortion when I was a child too, and how I had to stand for myself. So when it came to bringing in, the first work that I did was the goddess Lakshmi, energy for abundance. And after that, I have worked with quite a few and a lot of energies of goddesses. And I've done trips to Egypt where I've worked with goddess Isis, Sekhmet, and when I'm saying that I can see them, their energies already started coming, and you'll find me smiling a lot. So it's because they are all around here. So I just acknowledge them with a smile. So I have, and in 2022, I did a trip to UK with my friend, and we did the divine pathway where we were working with the goddess energy. At that time, I was not sure what I was doing, but we were just doing the imbibing of the divine feminine and working with the feminine energy. And 2023, I went through a lot of project related to my health, which was with my sacral area. And I had to go through a surgery, which happened in the month of January. Just right as we entered the year 2024, I had to go through a big long surgery, and I came out it was brilliant because I was given the power to release and to hold a space. And through that, I have seen that there is so much more space I've managed to create. So the entire journey has been a beautiful one where I have touched upon so much of energy of the divine feminine through the goddesses that come through, whether it is goddess Durga or the goddess Isis or Sekhmet or Nefertari, and they just bring in their presence for me to work with the energy of the person, whether and it's actually not even gender specific, because I do a lot of work with men to help them to balance their energy, to allow them to bring in their divine feminine energy too. And I
Mhm.
love to work with with Lord Shiva. And I have a big connection through his energy because I have worked with his energy. And he is the one that has shown that you need to imbibe both energies. It's just not that one sided, because when you move from one end of the pendulum to the other end, there is no balance, and that's the chaos. And um, and through that chaos, which I have seen Lord Shiva, he had created something called as the Tandav, which is the dance form. And that was only to bring in the balance of his divine feminine with his divine masculine. I just love that. So, and even talking about this entire work that I have done this month, I was completely taken aback with, and actually, I'm always in the flow. So when the goddess energies come in, or any energies that come in, I just step back and I just become the channel. And it is so rewarding to come across or to be introduced to 70 goddesses in around, I think, around 40 35 archetypes. So it's been hard, it's been beautiful, this entire journey, and I'm so happy that I'm able to do this with you, to bring it to a bigger audience, to be able to communicate to them and show the benefit.
You must experience obviously a different form of energy with each one that comes in. And then
Yes.
you having the wisdom to distinguish who's coming in. And so, because I feel energy too, and yet I not quite where you are, where I know, oh, this is who's coming in now, and oh, that's who's coming in, and yet that's how much support we're getting, and we don't know it. So can you talk a little bit more about that too? How it affects you energetically? What do you feel? What happens to your emotions, your mind, everything? So people really that don't feel it can begin to experience it through you.
When I started my journey, and I I could only do was that I used to put my mind into my work. So when I
Mhm.
started making the cosmic grids and I started working, I would put my the intellect, because that's what we've been grown up with. You know, you need to use your intellect. And I would see that when I'm creating a grid, it would sometime not work the way the intellect wants it. And I would be asked to tear it, or I would tear it, or something would fall onto it. And so one day I decided, if I'm being told to use this color or this geometry or create or use my compass in this manner, what it's an idea. Why not explore that? And the day I started doing that, I am amazed with every grid that comes in for anybody. It's even if the topic may be the same, if I'm working on a abundance grid, or I'm looking at a sacral balance for someone, it will still be so unique. So the concept may be the same, but the interpretation is completely based on the energy of that person and the energy that is walking in or saying that what they want to be done for them. So when I started stepping back, and I started allowing and being in my confidence that I'm protected, because this is not, I'm the channel. And the day I accepted that I'm just the channel, because I had to break that identity, because we are, like, I'm coming from a corporate background. I'm like 15 years into corporate, and I was head of marketing. So when you're coming from that kind of a background to having no identity, it takes a lot of work. And the more I started working, and that was my first task, was to break my own identity, and so allowing the energies to do. And when I accepted I'm just a channel, and I am protected while I'm doing this, and only the highest good and love and light comes through, I have only seen that love and light comes through in various form, whether I speak the language, whether I write the language, whether I draw the language. It's seamless. And so when I work, it's not always do I see the colors, or sometimes I will be just blank, or I'll be just fast asleep when I'm working, or I'm into somebody else's workshop, I'll be sleeping. And I believe that's the best way. And it's taken me time to accept that. It's all right, because when people talk about, oh, I saw this and I saw this and I saw that, and I would be like, I was sleeping. And I then realized that I'm not sleeping, because when the person who's conducting the workshop says, now come back, I come back. I am not
Yes.
sleeping. I'm
Yeah.
somewhere, except I don't know where, or I do not want to know where, because it just interferes. And the more I have been in this acceptance and in this flow, I feel, and when I work with so many clients, and when I tell them that it is okay that you don't see, because even if you don't see it is happening, it's just your mind doesn't cannot comprehend at this time.
Mhm.
It's the comprehension of the mind, not you. It's not you the problem, or there is no problem actually. It is as so it is at this moment, and that's it. And
Mhm.
I see that over the period of time, when we start being in that, things become more and more clear because we start getting tangible results from subtle to gross as we go, or gross to subtle. It's also the reverse. So when we are doing that, the more we do, the more we start receiving, and we start seeing tangibility of things. And human mind loves tangible, but it's a process. It's a process. So you just got to trust.
Yeah. Well, you said so much in there. There's a few things that I'm hoping I can remember to share with you. Um, okay. First of all, how you fall asleep, when you're in a workshop and somebody's leading you through a process. It's funny because just this morning, I woke up in the middle of the night, which is pretty common, and for a lot of people. And then I went back to bed, and then I was playing something, and this happens so many times. I can't. Maybe you can relate to this. I'm listening, and my body, my subconscious, my higher self, was already telling me to wake up to receive the message, and it was so beautiful because it was about being a divine messenger. And
Wow.
I know, I know, and what was coming through is somebody I didn't know, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling guided to listen to this. And so this is what we're sort of talking about, is letting the mind to soften, because the mind would take us in a different direction than sometimes the higher self, the information that's coming in, and we just need to be open and curious and allow. And it's fun because it's kind of playful, and that's why you struck me, is because like I have no idea what is going to happen today, but I knew that there was something going to be in it for me, because this is what I'm discovering. Whenever we show up, whenever we say yes, something is always revealed in a way the
Absolutely.
mind could never, ever, ever process, right?
Which
Okay.
is so true.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, okay, you say that when you work with people, even though you've created something, and we could have the same, maybe let's go to the sacral, because you mentioned the sacral. And for so many women, we have distortions in the sacral, right? So many imprints. And the family imprint, and the like our parents' imprint is in there and everything. And so you could see me and you could see somebody else, and yet you're creating something different because we have a different energy signature.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how you create. That's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes. So sometimes I'm asked to only create is a common, which is going to be, although even if it is a common one, sometimes like cosmic coasters, which I have, are common. However, they work at a different level on the different energy of that person. So the more you interact with that, the more you are opening up a different doorway. You're passing through the doorways. And sometimes when I make a personalized grid, which is, or it is a blueprint, so even if it is just the handprint I'm making, but it will be different geometries every time, and I get so amazed with the amount of colors I play with. Because and it's just you step back. So I would look at it and I would say, are you sure you want me to put a blue over here? And I just say, okay, you want me to put the blue, I'll put the blue. And I see the outcome, and I'm like, okay, every day I am amazed.
I bet you are. That's so beautiful. And it's so beautiful when we can allow ourselves to just allow ourselves to be guided. And, because we're so used to, we're moving into the sacred energy a bit, our experience ourselves as soul, as these sacred beings. And that requires a lot of trusting, right? And a lot of surrendering, and setting aside what we think we should be doing. And so tell me a little bit more share with us a little bit more. I know that I believe you said you were in, was it marketing? Did you say you were in?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And so very outer focused. What happened to you that made you totally, I heard the one part with Loren. I did listen for a few minutes and I stopped. And you said you had a boss who gave you an ultimatum, and you said goodbye. It's like and so you followed your inner, but you followed the call of the higher self, of the divine call.
Yes. So I since childhood, I have been claircognizant, and I used to speak the language of light as a child. And but I could not understand firstly that what I'm doing, and I was also a very kind of a, although I have a lot of friends, or I would not have any friends, so I would always have this kind of an ebb and flow. And I would always I found myself speaking the language of light, not realizing I'm speaking the language of light. And as life progresses, you shut that aspect of you, because obviously for reasons you don't know what it is. And parents always tell you this is not the correct, you have to get a job, you have to work, you have to get something to be done out of your life. So when I went into the corporate, I worked on my second last job, actually. It was when I was, before that itself, I had started a lot of healing work on myself. And there was a journey that started with a, you can say, when you reach a point in your life and you feel like I have been here now enough. So I had to go to the base of the well. And I knew that from here I just have to climb up, because I'm not giving any other option. I don't have the option. And even though at that time I've been very intuitive, and I knew that I had to fall, like I have to go to the base. And staying in that limbo, or saying that, oh, I can do, I should not do, I knew that I had to just go down, and I went down. And so in that job, during that was my second last job, and at that time my boss said, my way or the highway. So I said, I like the highway. Like, I have no clue what that was, because you come from this conscious, it's drilled into us that before you leave a job, you must have a job, you must be secured. It's so unsafe, and it's like so much fear based energy. But something at that moment just told me, "Okay, it's fine, just let it go." And
Mhm.
the day I let it go, I had such beautiful HR team that gave me 3 months of work from home, and I had nothing to do but only do healing. So I would
Mhm.
just wake up to the night. I was just working on myself, and I took a sabbatical, you can say, of around 6 to 8 to 9 months, I guess. And I came across this book. I came across, and I was helping a friend with her program, which she was into healing. And I was helping her, and she told me to sit with a lady who was doing channeling. And she said, "You are a channeler. You have to channel. You have to channel." And so, how I had heard this in the past, but I would, because I'm so busy, I would not have time to even entertain or humor myself with that. So I just told my friend that I have to channel, but what do I channel? So she guided me to this very beautiful soul, and she said she's an amazing channeler. Why don't you connect with her? And I call her up next morning. Noah said that I call her up and I said, teach me channeling. And she said, have you read my book? Do you know what you want to do? I said, no, I just came to know about you 12 hours ago. So she told me to pick up her book, and I read her book. And that's where I got introduced to you can say, my guide. And I visited my guide's shrine. And that's where again the message started coming through. You have to do, you have to write, you have to write. And like, I was with friends and they were coming out and they would write down some stuff, and I'm like, I'm blank, I have no message. So the last time when I went inside just to give my respect, I realized that I had kept my head on his shrine, and I just couldn't move my head. It was like stuck to the marble. And the only thing that was going in the head, imagine the head is blank with void. And the only thing is repeating is that you have to write. Say, yes, you will write. And I'm like feeling embarrassed. People are standing out. So I said, okay, I will write. But what do I write? The minute I said, yes, I will write, my head, I could lift my head. I came out and I just sat. And then I said, okay, what do I write? And then I knew that the way I left my corporate job was not at a pleasant note. Like, it's not complete. So I said, give me a chance. Let me go back to my corporate. Let me do 6 months, and I will go back to what you want me to do. I returned, and it was September. I come back home. The place where I had interviewed around 5 6 months back, they called up. They said, your job is open for you. Would you like to join us?" And I'm like, why not? And Sherry, I tell you this: in 6 months, the company was taken over and I was the highest paying employee. And the HR had to say, we cannot keep you because the structure has now changed. And I just smiled and I realized it is 6 months. I said, I am all right. I'm okay. I will serve. I'm not even, I just asked for a servant package. I said, they said, you don't need to come to work because they were feeling so guilty about letting me go. They said, you stay at home, you find yourself a job. And I said, no, I don't want a job. So he said, no, you need to work. I said, okay. So 3 months, I didn't do anything. And I started channeling. I started writing with my right hand in English, then it went to my left hand. Then I started writing in left hand because I'm ambidextrous. So I started
Mhm.
writing with my left hand. And then I realized that I can no longer write in English. And then I started dabbling. And that's how I started writing the language. And I think by the end of after the 3 months, I was asked to speak the language because they were telling me that you know this language. Just give it a shot. And that's when I saw an image of myself as a child where I was speaking the language. So I said, okay, I remember this. I recognize these words. And that's how the journey began. And I am here with you today.
Here we are. That's so beautiful. That's what I love about these kinds of conversations is really finding out how did this happen? Because for all of us, we all have some gifts that we're either just discovering, or even if we have, there's still going to be more that's revealed the more that we let go and we allow. And so, I can sort of relate because for me, we both love energy. And I remember taking Reiki because my dad had MS, and I didn't know MS patients at the time, can respond well to energy work. And he had already transitioned, and he came through a medium and said, work with energy. So I did Reiki. And at first I felt nothing at all. And it's like, this isn't real. And then, but because it was my dad, I knew I wanted to keep going to honor my dad. And one day I woke up and I could feel like, poof, could feel the energy coming from my hands. And so then I
Wow.
knew I needed to be of service, right? And so I did a practicum and just worked with people who were recovering, like mainly women with cancer. And it was so beautiful. But then something happened to my eyes, and I had to literally go on an inner journey for about 4 years. I could still see, but not very well. So I wasn't out in the world driving or anything, right? Um, but that was the gift. That was the blessing. That was the unfolding of me discovering the divine is not outside of us. We are one with the divine, but it took a long time to get there. But what a beautiful gift, right? Because had I gone with who I was before when I first felt energy, it would have been ego.
That's true.
And I wouldn't have been humble and I wouldn't have been a pure, so you went through all those things too. Like we literally, God, the divine, has a plan for us. And so, even though the mind would think that maybe we should be getting there quicker, we have to understand that all of the unfolding, the time that it's taking to cultivate, to become who God has created us to be. And so that's the beauty in, some of these things when we feel like it's, I lost my job, I've been taken away from my job, and this gift that's coming upon you, it's like I couldn't kind of come in any other way.
Which is very true. I think one of the biggest thing that I have experienced and learned is to how to let go of the ego.
Yeah.
And I feel it's the ego is very good. But however, it needs to be working for you, not
Mhm.
against you.
Right.
And the second thing that I learned in these years, and I believe from 2020, is when the concept of trusting was becoming very strong. And
Mhm.
as we are in the path of ascension, the only thing that we are expected of us is to trust. Trust
Mhm.
the process, trust that it's not that it's happening, bad things are only happening. because there is something beyond the veil that we cannot see. And sometimes
Absolutely.
I feel that these words may not make sense to us, but even if I just can just touch it for a
Yeah.
moment, texture of it, I
Yeah.
think it takes you a long way. Just the texture of,
Hmm.
and it just transcends itself. And again, when I say this is because I have experienced it. Otherwise I would have felt that these are just words, because when I started my journey, even when I hear these things, I could not comprehend what does it mean to let go. Like even when I'm working with people, like, what does it mean to let go? What do you let go? And so when you just start the trusting part, what we normally use, because also the language is limited with words and sentences and phrases. So
Absolutely.
because of its limitation, we can't see beyond it. But there is so much of, like when I'm right now speaking to you, I see so much of threads. It's just not just one word, it's just so many threads behind. So we just got to
Mm. It's sort of beautiful because you see, I'm not a visionary like you. I don't see the way that you do. I'm more of a feeler and a knower, right? But it's beautiful how you're describing it because I recently in the Summit series have said so many times, words are funny because we randomly say things without the depth of the meaning, the feeling, the frequency that's happening to us as we're bringing this in and speaking it. And so we don't realize how much of a creator we are, whether we're creating something we want to be creating or we're not creating something. It's really truly everything that we speak is sending out some kind of a signal, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's like every moment is a choice, and not choosing is also choice.
Mhm.
So it's like choose wisely.
Absolutely. And then you were saying something too about the ego. And what I love is there's a teaching where the soul is waiting for the ego, the personality to become aware. It's the soul. And then when we become curious and say, I remember myself writing soul vows saying, you know what, I can't do this. This isn't working the way I'm trying to do it. So I surrender. And I was more comfortable with soul language at the time. And so it's like I wrote vows to my soul saying, you, guide me, so higher self, guide me. And it's beautiful once. So our whole journey isn't just about letting go to the ego. It's about letting go of all things, so many things, so that we can really experience who we are. Because the
Absolutely.
attachment is what keeps us in limitation.
Yes. And I think it's because of the fear, the lower energies, the attachment comes from the base, from the fear and the imprints that we carry across time, space, and dimension. And that is holding us. That is what keeps the day going, if I have to say it that way. Because
Mhm.
if I don't have that, then what am I? And then who am I? And the
Mhm.
fear of knowing who I am I. And what do I
Mhm.
do with it?
Well, you
So,
discovering you're from a totally different planet, that's a pretty big thing. It's like I'm not even from here. I don't originate. But a lot of us wouldn't, right? We would be from how many different lives in different places. And so I love that you are
yeah,
here to be an ambassador of that, helping us remember more of who we really truly are.
absolutely. And it has been a amazing realization, because I would feel that there is uh, the work for Earth, and I would see that this is not what I am. I would not be completely find myself drawn to doing it, because, and in the last 1 year, I have been given an understanding of what I really have to do.
Mhm.
So when I was told that, and I could relate to, oh yes, that's what I feel. That's what I'm not able to connect. Not that I didn't want to connect, but I have to go, like, come round this way and not go round this way. And
Exactly.
and also because when you're working with your own self and your higher self is guiding you, I think it becomes even more imperative to listen to, even if there is a slight sound, because that sound again has so many vibration that is coming through. So that makes it more interesting for me. So I like to go
Mhm.
deeper and go deeper. And I like to go, not to satiate my intellect, but I like to understand, like, what am I here exactly to be doing? That
Mhm.
guidance is so important. And when it comes through, and when it has come through in the last 1 year, I feel like it's helping me with the purpose. It's expanding my horizon. And I think the surgery that happened at the starting of the year actually opened up the a lot of doorways for me. So
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Our our soul, our higher self, the divine, would never create anything our mind could possibly comprehend. Because even myself, I would never think that I'm doing what I'm doing and having these conversations, especially about what I talk about. And but that's the fun of it, is that there really is something about dying to the old. We really literally do have to let go of the parts that are no longer serving. But it's not that we don't have to squash the ego or anything. It's coming with us. It's just that we
yeah,
want the mind and the heart to be really fully integrate, so that they are working in, they're working in harmony with each other and serving. The mind is serving the heart, and the heart is, sending the messages to the mind to for us to receive things. And so I think this is part of the journey. And so we're so used to this or that, black and white. It's sort of either I'm this way or I'm that way. And yet everything has been leading us to who we are now today. And
absolutely.
yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your offer, though, too, because I know you said it has to be 3 different dates. So
Yes.
walk us through what you're going to be providing us.
So the call is divided into three archetypes. The first archetype is the nurturing archetype. And in that, I would be looking at the mother, the caregiver, the maiden, healer, and the guardian. And these archetypes are of compassion, support. They invite us to reconnect to our nurturing aspect of us. And one of the things that I noticed during the call was that, especially, it related a lot to the mothers. And we are mother energy, Gaia energy. And the misinterpretation, the societal misinterpretation is like gives you a sense that a mother has to do this and has to do that, not realizing that the mother or is a human being and therefore has the duality. But becoming a mother, the person feels that I must let go of this completely. And it's the rubber band inertia that I say, is that you will reach a point and the rubber band you will let go, and it will come back striking harder, because it will come back with force, because you've not acknowledged yourself while you are nurturing. So how do you, so in these, each archetype, whether it's the mother archetype or the caregiver archetype or the guardian archetype, none of them say that you are to let go of yourself. It is,
Mhm.
how do you embody your higher beingness and be of service without diluting yourself, that you are a mother and therefore you have to be sacrificing, or you just can only be a compassion. Because when Kwanin walks in and when she speaks about being a caregiver, does not mean that you are to not take responsibility of yourself. And it's a beautiful distinction that they do it during the call. So, and in each category, I work with 5 goddesses in each of them. So that's a little bit about the week one. And a lot of releasing that comes up is releasing emotions and uh, our ancestral lineage of how a woman has to be, and therefore the interpretation of the society of how a woman needs to be when she's a mother, or when she is it allowed for her to be a guardian, is it allowed for her to be just to be a healer. So the understanding and the myth around it, and especially when you are a healer, and if you have been, if we look at Friday the 13th and the fiasco that went through, and we are hiding behind the pain of it. The post trauma is still there. So, are we ready to now come and reveal ourselves? Are we ready to take our own power back into ourselves? So, so that's what about the nurturing it is. So the second call is about empowering, and during the empowering, I look what I've been guided to look at is the warrior, the lover, the visionary, the wild woman, and the queen. And I was so amazed with the titles that were given to me, and how they are talking about to embrace your wisdom and your strength, and to take that strength and your passion and make it your reality, and how you can stand, because when you are the wild one, people have this stereotyping or labeling, oh, she's the wild one. And if she is the wild one, she is irresponsible. Or if she is the lover, then she is only about lust. So, how do you go beyond that, and how you feel that to be a lover and to be pleasured and to be into that state is okay, and it's the part of being on this planet. If it the reason we came to this planet, or we were the experiment on this planet, was to experience this, and if I am not allowing that, then I'm not being a service to myself. I am just being a, you can say, a puppet to somebody else's agenda. And so that this is the session in which I we work with our desires, we work with reclaiming our voice, because in this category, the empowering means that we need to stand for ourselves and to ask. And it's like the right side when it is about giving, the left side is about receiving. And for receiving, you need to use your throat, the thymus gland, you need to use and speak. And so the asking is the most important in this time. And so again, each category, 5, so around 15 to 15 per. Then the last one is about the wisdom and creativity. And in this, it is the creator, then the crow, muse, the sage, and the shapeshifter. And this is all about discovering, accepting, realizing the creative aspect of you. And creativity is not limited to somebody being an artist. Creativity is also about, if I am a healer, I am creative. If I'm doing something in the house, I am creative, even if I am a homemaker for that matter. So becoming aware of that and expression, and encouraging that whatever I can receive from my inner self, I am ready to receive that. And that I am full of creative stimulants, and I can bring in that lessons to reality. So that's the last final call. And yeah, so this entire journey of wisdom and to inherit the totally the summation of all is that the feminine energy is not to be viewed as just one stereotype way. There is multiple facets. And in the last call, I was it's beautifully said to me was that I am just not one, but I am the facets of all. So, which means that I am the lover, I am the wild, I am the creator, I am the creation, I am the muse, and I am the sage, and I can be the mother, and I can be the caregiver. So, I am the facets of all.
How do we do that? How do we, like, I know it's hard to explain though, isn't it? It's sort of like you just sort of have to put yourself into that mindset, into being that, feeling that, what it's like to be the divine mother. Like, and think about our children. If we're holding that energy, what kind of impact we have on them versus when we're in the ancestral.
I think the first thing that I realized was that when we look at the mother archetype energy, and that talks about the mother is supposed to have the unconditional love and nurturing and compassion. Now, that's the foundation energy that we are given to understand. And then the mother, or the woman, when she becomes the mother, she's been told that it's like hand down. And most of us, because it's mass consciousness, we start relating. And also we look at social media and we look at movies where the depiction of the mother is given in a particular type. And so this person starts embodying that, not realizing the pros and cons of it.
Mhm.
And when you become aware, I feel like the biggest thing of anything and everything is that once you are aware of what are you doing and how, and when you are aware and you're in your, if you take the responsibility of yourself first, because I feel that if I cannot love myself or if I can't give attention to myself, I am in no position of loving anybody. So what I'm trying to do then is I'm going to have a trade off, or I'm going to say I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to give you the love, and when I become old you've got to take care of me. And in so many society and culture that it is made imperative for the children to take care of their parents, because the parents has said that I've given up everything for you. So why are you not in your own power? And so when I was doing this call once, especially the mother, I think all the participants could relate to what they are giving up or what they have given up on. And that awareness itself, and when I do the call, I bring in a lot of energy of healing through the light language. So it starts releasing those patterns. It starts loosening those things so that you can come into your own beingness. And that is what I have seen, so that there is a balance that you're creating of an acceptance. First is the acceptance, okay, I am giving and I'm okay to receiving, whether it is support, asking for support, and when the support comes, saying okay, I am ready to receive the support because I cannot do it by myself. And also understanding that when you are giving in unrealistic expectation, when you're giving into the unrealistic expectation, you are bound to create a tear into your own self that gets replicated through illnesses and diseases. So you can first understand that how much of self negligence and self neglect are you ready to do, until what extent can you go to. So when you start understanding that, how you are devaluing yourself and how you are unable to imbibe or embrace yourself, I think that is where things starts shifting. The awareness takes a lot of importance over here.
Love the time that we're in. I love that so many people are aware of energy. And I mean, we are energy. And so it's time, for us to really become these multidimensional beings that we really are. And so when we just open up to allowing the mystery to lead us and guide us and be open to, like, wow. And and we're just discovering, it's like you probably have so many more things you're going to bring to us every time you say yes to
Yes,
you.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you share a little bit of, like, do you use light language in imagery, or do you speak light language?
So I do multi work. I create grids which have got light language codes with sacred geometry and crystal powers. I put them on crystals. Some of them I put them and I can send them to people. Some of it is just with light language and sacred geometry charged with crystal energies. That's one type of work I do. Then I do blueprints, which is using the hands, in which I bring the light codes into the hands with sacred geometry and colors. And then I do transmissions, where I speak the language of light and work with the energy shifts, with the energy of whatever is required for the highest. Yeah, that's the third type. Yeah, everything is light language for me.
So beautiful. I loved, I knew I was so, like, I was kind of excited about our call because it's like, I have no idea what this is going to be, but I knew that you were, just like everything, we're always being guided, and there's always a aha moment. I had a few of those with you today. So I loved our time together. And as we come to a close, is there anything that you would like to share with the viewers before we say our goodbyes?
If you will, well, I can do a small little healing for everybody. If that's all
Absolutely. Yes. Yes,
right.
please.
Okay. Okay, Lucky Utahish. So as you breathe in and breathe out, tukuta palara kate pe lolutu itala makatala kitunu kutala. So on this day, in this moment, in this time, Puyatela po onu kutunu kutalata. Nakutala te eto utolotat setan tola inanama katanata. So as I bring in the energy of the goddesses, Tani olala namakata, the makatolata, machachana makata makatana makatolorukuta. Pachamama speaks to us. Tamakotolorokotolorokotolorokotanata with goddess Newt. Ilaramakata comes along with her is goddess Alaramakata, Olorokota, Dimitri. Olorokotonomokotolorokotalarakata with the embodiment of Gaia, Taniononomokotolorokotolorokota, and Mother Mary. Kioloranamakata, coming along is Tanakeatanamakata, goddess Sekhmet. Alarakatana Isis, Tamayuto Otala, Anuke Atala, Uto Utomoto Lukutulukuta, Arapanama Katepeketo Otoluto Itapekatapa, Atamasha Samokotolurukoto, Asha Samokotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukotolurukota, Ishisikito, Umakito, Ularana Makatapalakato, Alarani Nalami Etoluto, Yutonukotolurukoto, Amikito Pokotolurukoto, Mokotolurukoto, Eros, Hathor, Halaita Namakatapayotonokotorukoto, Goddess Parvati, Shakti, Elanimikitolurukotolurukotonukotalata, Mary Magdalene, Namahi Namahanamakatalarakotonolokotonokota, Adakata Kitokotonokoto, Khatija, Katahanamakataramiono, Rihumana, Omokotolurukoto, Yadanamakatapilarakotolurukotonukotonukotonukoto, Kali, Katamakatapalarakatonokotolurukota, Selini, Kanamakata Saraswati, Katamakata Peketo, Athena, Tara, Alaito no Kotolorokota, Nike, Kiki Yotonokotolorokotolorokotolorokota, Sadana, Tenania Nama Namakata Esther, Lilith, Alarahata Ikatolorokotolorokotolorokota, they bring in the energy of independence. Tamakotolorokotolorokotolorokota, Larakatamakata Pelarakata Mokotolorokotolorokotolorokotolorokota, divine femininity of its most innate nature. Make it connection with self and connection with the nature. Liberation. Nurturing and protection. Compassion. Transformation, the magic and the intuition, abundance, fertility, sexuality, the emotional depth, Amsa tata pata kata beauty and music. Kata hayana makata larakata romance and connection. Tamakata piyadanaka sensuality. Kiyata namakata pelorukoto asana katara katana makata all seasons, all weathers. Tamahaya namahana mokoto nakata. Namakata pelarakata makata pelarakata eta rakata nakata lorukoto. Arakata nakata pelarakata ulorukoto sovereignty. Namakata pelarokoto nukoto ashasana katarakata continuous transformation. Tamakata larakata sacred poetry, sacred design. Tamakata palarokoto onokoto lorokoto. Alarana namakata larakata makata larakoto rokoto. Inspiration. Tamiyata namakata palarakata pa. Oh namakato. Omokoto lorokota. Aniketo onakuta ata ashata. Eketo lorokota maha. Asepeketo o namakata pakata palarakata o larakata makata palarakata atara nananahakata oho saha tamahana mokoto lurukutanata eketo. And so when you stand in your power, isha namakatanata, and when you align and balance tanakata all that is tanamakata within you, alaramakata palarakata, and the energy that flows through your 100 trillion cells, aligning, karamakata balancing, kamakata palarakata, and allowing you to remember the divinity, the power, the makata palarakata, is samakata, the embodiment of knowing, anakata, and to know, katamakata lara, the kata receive and receive. Kata peke yudulu kutu nukutarata. Osha sanata namakutulu rukutanakata. Isha se etelara kata nakata. Husana kata and honesty towards yourself. Namakata palarakata pokutulu rukutu mukutulu rukuta. Asha samakata larakata. Remembering that you are the creation and the creator. Kanamakata larakata. You are taha sanaka multifaceted. Lokata ito rukutu nukutarata. Ishi senakata. And so we all stand with you. Kuto yuto nukutarakata. To boost you, to promote you. Tanamukuto lurukuto nukutarata. And we are your support. Tamakata palarakata standing right behind you. Kurukata itanama utala ita shiseyado namukuto lurukuta. Embodiment of you. Alarakata nakata is embodiment of all of us. Tamakito oto shanakata larata. And so it is, and so it shall always be. Larakata yoto namukuto lurukuta yadanakata. May all creation be blessed. Yasa yata ito nukutarata. Yasa yeto nukutaratanata. Yasa yeto nukutalarakata. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It's so beautiful how your energy can shift. Oh, thank you for that. We should have started with that. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. So beautiful. And so are you. I thank you for our beautiful, sacred, heart to heart and soul to soul conversation. I hope this is the beginning of many with you. I'm grateful to the universe that we were aligned and we both said yes. So I thank you so much. You can say your final goodbyes to all of the viewers.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you for accommodating me. Thank you for allowing me to bring this to you and to the whole community.
You are so welcome. You're so welcome. And as we're saying, expressing gratitude, I would like to express gratitude to New Earth One, to dear Loren for saying yes to me, for seeing something in me that I wasn't quite seeing in myself yet, and for allowing me this opportunity to keep stepping into my calling too, and working with beautiful souls like you, and connecting with others that I know are part of my path, and yet I have yet to meet too. So I'm so very grateful for this opportunity. Loren, I love you and I thank you. And dear Tamara, you have been so amazing. You're a rock star. I'm sending you so much love. And to all of those that I have yet to meet, I thank you all. And I send everybody so much love, peace, and blessings. Namaste, beautiful ones.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in Unity Consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.